is Radio Prague International, coming to you from the Czech capital.
Hello and welcome, I'm Ruth Fraňková and you are listening to Czechia in 30 minutes, the show where we give you a rundown of what's recently been happening in the country in just half an hour. Coming up on today's show, Prague approves long-awaited zoning plan aimed at unlocking tens of thousands of new homes. A rare collection of Alphonse Mucha posters that captivated Paris goes on display in Chrudim. And Czech tennis sensation Jakub Menšík has reached the Roland Garros semifinals. And later we speak to musicologist Matěj Kratochvíl about the Czech Academy of Sciences digital archive of 15,000 folk songs. All that coming up, but first here is the news brought to you by Romana Grajcarová.
News.
If its budget were reduced by approximately 1 billion Czech crowns, as planned in the government's proposed legislation from next year, Czech television would have to lay off between 300 and 500 employees. This was stated today at the Digi Media conference by Deputy Director General Milan Friedrich. Czech television currently employs nearly 3,000 people and operates with a budget of 8.5 billion crowns. According to Friedrich, in addition to mass layoffs and the associated severance costs, Czech television would also have to cancel major production projects already underway, including drama productions. This would lead to further expenses in the form of contractual penalties for terminating projects. Hundreds of employees of Czech television came today dressed in black in front of the main building at Kavčí hory in Prague to express their protest against changes in the funding of public service media, which the government coalition wants to push through. A protest also took place today in front of the headquarters of Czech Radio in Vinohrady. Staff from both media outlets also met in Brno and Ostrava. Representatives of the Veřejnoprávne initiative, trade unions and employees of Czech television and Czech Radio had previously declared an indefinite strike alert due to the planned changes. At today's gathering, they stated that if further political steps towards public service media threaten their independence, they may go on strike. Due to the conflict of interest of Prime Minister Andrej Babiš, the anti-corruption organization Transparency International has filed a complaint with European Union institutions. The organization does not consider the transfer of shares in Babiš's Agrofert into the RSVP trust sufficient to resolve the issue. Babiš previously stated that by placing the shares into the trust, he considers the conflict of interest resolved. The State Agriculture Intervention Fund, based on analysis conducted about a month ago, stated that the solution to the Prime Minister's conflict of interest regarding Agrofert through a trust fund complies with both national and EU legislation. However, Transparency International argues that these analyses are not objective and states that the State Agricultural Intervention Fund is knowingly acting in favor of the Agrofert holding. The trade union organization Straka at the government office has declared a strike alert over the planned transfer of responsibilities in areas such as human rights protection, mental health and addiction policy to several ministries. According to the union, the reorganization scheduled to take effect at the beginning of July will jeopardize a functioning system, weaken professional continuity and lead to the departure of experienced civil servants from the public administration. If the government office signs delimitation agreements with the ministries regarding the transfer of the relevant departments, the unions are prepared to call a strike. In Prague, around 157,000 apartments are currently under construction, which is 8,000 more than in the first half of last year. This marks the highest number to date. The planned new housing projects are expected to be built mainly in Prague 4, 5 and 9, districts with the largest development areas and brownfields. In contrast, space for new construction in the city center is limited. This follows from data provided by the largest Czech residential developer, Central Group, presented at today's press conference. And now let's look at the weather. On Thursday, it will be partly cloudy to mostly clear with isolated fog in the morning. Cloud cover will gradually increase from the west, and later in the afternoon and evening there will be rain or showers in places in the western half of Bohemia with isolated thunderstorms as well. Highest daytime temperatures will be 22 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius.
After over a decade of preparation, the Prague Council last week approved a new zoning plan for the city. What will it do to fix Prague's shortage of new apartments? And does it factor in all the amenities that development will demand? Ian Willoughby spoke to Deputy Mayor for Spatial Development Petr Hlaváček, who oversaw the conclusion of the entire project.
Preparations were done for many years to create the new municipal zoning plan. How much of an achievement do you think it is to have actually had it passed now?
It's actually 13 and a half years, and it's like 3 public hearings, like huge ones, not only the public hearing, but also the explanation and tours around Prague with IPR people. So it's like really a lot of work. So I think the Prague just now have a very progressive modern plan, which is completely digital. And it's start of other work, which actually is a discussion about the cooperation with the Středočeský kraj, because a lot of troubles which we have is like a transportation or school. It's connected with the Středočeský kraj, and also we must put effort to create more and more detailed documentation, which we are just now doing. So it's like big moment.
Well, it's well known that Prague has a shortage of new housing. Will this new zoning plan fix that problem?
Definitely. It's in terms of planning, in terms of master planning, it's opening the gates for other work. Actually, all investors are waiting for new building law. There's on the cities also a lot of technical troubles like sewage, infrastructure, which must be solved, and it's kind of common effort. But in terms of plan, it's really capacity, roughly 350,000 apartments and something like 60,000 apartments on the public land, like city housing.
And over how many years will that many apartments be built?
I think its plan is at least for 20 years. And we have prepared some kind of changes, but not of the main principles of the plan. It's more like a new ideas for development.
Well, some critics say that the plan favours developers and doesn't sufficiently guarantee schools, healthcare facilities and other public amenities. What would you say to that?
I don't agree with this criticism. It was very clearly explained by Ondřej Boháč, the director of IPR. Public amenities is one of the genetic code of this metropolitan plan. There is a calculation, and exactly we know where should be the schools and other stuff. Everything is controlled on this contracts agreement with these investors, which is exactly saying where is going to be built park, where is going to be built school, and which land is handed over to the city and others agreements.
Well, my final question is simply, what does it feel like for you? You were the kind of head of this project, so many years' work, and now you finally have it over the line.
Actually, I am not only one. It's like really, we counted, it's like maybe 300 experts working through the years on this plan. As I said on the beginning, for me it's a new beginning, because there is a lot of work on the city, and plan from Thursday became some kind of pattern or base for the other work. And I'm quite happy, not because of me, but because of these mostly young people who were working on this plan so many years and spent for life for the city. Some of them hold this 13 years. So I think it's quite good information that city like Prague is able to make some kind of political decision which is not compromise, but the agreement.
Deputy Mayor for Spatial Development Petr Hlaváček talking there to my colleague Ian Willoughby. The Regional Museum in Chrudim has opened an exhibition of works by the renowned Art Nouveau artist Alphonse Mucha. The collection of first edition posters, which captivated Paris in the late 1890s, is on show under the title Alphonse Mucha, Euphoria of Ornament. Daniela Lazarova has the details.
The collection of posters ranks among the greatest treasures of the museum's art collection. The town of Chrudim purchased the core of the collection in 1897, when they first appeared in the streets of Paris, and expanded it in the following years. Museum director Klára Habartová explains what makes the exhibition extraordinary.
Ta první jedinečnost je, že ta naše sbírka je nádherně ucelená.
The collection we have is exceptional in that it is remarkably comprehensive and represents 1/3 of all the posters that Mucha created. What is also unique is that the works are in excellent condition, allowing us to admire their original authentic colors. The posters have been exhibited several times before, but after roughly a decade on display, they are always returned to storage to prolong their preservation. Finally, it is an exceptional legacy from our forefathers. The fact that in the late 19th century the town of Chrudim was willing to invest in art and acquire such a unique and extensive collection for future generations.
Investovalo do umění, které je pro nás tak unikátní.
The collection is divided into several thematic sections. Visitors can see Mucha's famous theatre posters as well as decorative panels, a highly popular form of lithographic art in the 1890s. Among the highlights are the celebrated The Seasons series and the later Gemstones cycle, depicting elegant women surrounded by flowers in the colours of amethyst, topaz, emerald and ruby. The exhibition also offers a glimpse into Mucha's commercial work through advertisements for a variety of productions, including a 1897 campaign for Nestlé powdered milk and posters promoting pharmaceutical opiates used as painkillers. Another notable feature is a pair of decorative plates adorned with gilded Art Nouveau motifs. Among the most famous exhibits is the poster that launched Mucha's international career. In 1894, while living in Paris, he unexpectedly received a commission to design a theatre poster for the celebrated actress Sarah Bernhardt. His poster for the play Gismonda caused a sensation, earning him a 5-year contract with Bernhardt and leading to numerous further commissions. The poster became so sought after in Paris that, according to contemporary accounts, collectors sometimes bribed bill posters to obtain copies. Mucha's works were also frequently removed directly from advertising boards and poster displays by fans of his work. Despite the acquisition of the collection in 1897, Mucha did not personally attend the exhibition held in Chrudim that year, but in 1933 he visited the town with his wife, Maria Muchová, and was a guest of honor at another exhibition of his work. The museum also acquired several original drawings directly from the artist. Mucha had close ties to Chrudim through his wife, Maria, whose family came from the town. After Mucha's death, Maria continued to visit Chrudim regularly. She and the couple's daughter, Jaroslava Muchová, are buried in the local cemetery.
Daniela Lazarova with that report. Jakub Menšík's breakthrough season has reached another milestone. The Czech tennis star defeated Brazil's João Fonseca in straight sets to become the first Czech man in 16 years to reach the semifinals at Roland Garros. Speaking after the match, Menšík highlighted the importance of his return game, mental strength and aggressive tactics as he prepares for a showdown with Alexander Zverev. Vít Pohanka has the details.
Jakub Menšík reaches his first Grand Slam semi-final. The Czech delivering the goods.
Jakub Menšík has long been regarded as one of the brightest young talents in world tennis. The Czech player announced himself on the biggest stage last year when he won the Miami Masters title. Standing nearly 2 meters tall, Menšík is naturally associated with a powerful serve. But in his Roland Garros quarterfinal against João Fonseca, another weapon proved just as important, his return.
Yes, definitely. The return was one of the main weapons, one of the key ingredients for today. I was really pleased that right from the start things were working both on my serve and on the return. I think that was one of the decisive factors in the match, and I'm very happy about that.
Oh, that is some pass.
The victory makes Menšík the first Czech man to reach the semifinals at Roland Garros in 60 years. He is also the first Czech male Grand Slam semifinalist since Tomáš Berdych reached the last four at Wimbledon in 2017. Also, at the age of 20, Menšík has become the youngest Czech men's Grand Slam semifinalist of the Open era, surpassing a record previously held by Ivan Lendl. Next comes perhaps his toughest challenge yet, world number 3 Alexander Zverev. Menšík lost a close 3-set match to the German in Madrid earlier this year, but believes that experience could prove valuable.
Já jsem rád, že ty 2 dny volna teďka určitě bodnou, jak mentálně, tak určitě fyzicky, takže odpočinu se.
I'm really glad to have 2 days off now. They'll definitely help, both mentally and physically. I'll rest, prepare as well as I can, and then we'll see. Alex loves this tournament. It's probably one of his favourite events, so it's going to be extremely demanding. But I had the chance to play him recently in Madrid. He has a very specific style of play, something I hadn't really faced before. I'm glad I had that experience, almost like a preparation match. Now I know what to expect on Friday, and I will prepare as well as possible and try to play my very best tennis.
In some style. Menšík! Fonseca's run is over.
Whether or not Menšík can overcome Zverev, his run in Paris has already secured him a place in Czech tennis history. And at such a young age, many believe this could be only the beginning.
Vít Pohanka with that report. A reminder that you are with Czechia in 30 minutes, a half hour of news, current affairs and interesting stories brought to you by Radio Prague International. And now it's time for today's main feature. Nearly 15,000 songs from all regions of Bohemia, Moravia and Silesia are now freely available through a new online library called písňovna.cz. The project was created by the Institute of Ethnology of the Czech Academy of Sciences, whose archives hold most of this unique collection. The digital catalogue is also aimed at teachers, making it easier to bring folk songs into the classroom. I discussed the project with the Institute's musicologist and ethnologist Matěj Kratochvíl. So first of all, what inspired you to create this online library of songs, and why have you decided to launch it now?
This project is a result of very long development and very long history of our institute, the Institute of Ethnology of the Czech Academy of Sciences, which is full of archival records of folk songs dating back to the 19th century. So the main inspiration was our feeling that we should make all those archival records available, and that is immense richness of what we could call cultural heritage that should be made available to broadest possible scope of users. And also important fact was that it was necessary to protect those sources which are on paper, very old, and so we needed to digitize them. And once it's digitized, we felt that it should be made available. So that was the reason for creation of what we call písňovna, which could be translated as songbrary, like song library.
You said the songs date back to the early 19th century. Can you mention at least some of the most interesting songs? Are there some that are particularly interesting to you?
Actually, this year, coincidentally, the launch of our database comes 200 years after the publication of the so-called Rittersberg collection, which was published in 1825. And we have this one in our database as well. So it's the oldest collection of folk song that was published in Czech in print. So there we can find those earliest examples. And then, of course, collection of Karel Jaromír Erben, which is also very large. So it creates kind of a basis of what we call today the Czech folk song. So those are the earliest examples.
So if I go to the website Písňovna, what kind of information can I actually find there?
Mm-hmm. We try to make the website as intuitive as possible. So there is possibility to browse, either browse particular collections, so you find urban collection or collection by almost unknown collectors from like early 20th century, and you can go through the songs as if you were like browsing a book, or you can search by lyrics, so input first words of a song and it will show you if we have song with those lyrics. You can input a tune either by clicking on a virtual keyboard or whistling into a microphone of your phone or of your computer. And thanks to the digitalization of the tunes, the system is able to compare what you are whistling or playing with our database and tell, okay, we have something that sounds similarly to the tune you are after. So that's another possibility to simply look by the musical content. And then you can look, for example, if you are interested in finding a song from the region where you were born or from your village, you can go to the list of localities, the places, and see if we have anything from there.
You have your phone here in the studio, so could you walk us through step by step how to use Písňovna on a phone or on a computer?
So if you go to písňovna.cz, first thing you will see is the song of the day. We decided to go through the whole year to the calendar and find an appropriate song which is somehow related to the current date. So today is St. Martin's Day, so we recall the birthday of the famous singer, folk song collector and folk dancer from Moravia, Martin Holý, and found one of the songs that he collected. And tomorrow we will find a different song related to either who was born or what saint's day it is or what other important thing was happening. But otherwise, if you are on your phone, you will see the typical magnifying glass, the search symbol, and then you will see that you can go to the label called Písně, the songs, and then you will see the whole list of songs. And you can either search in the search bar or you can simply go through the list. And then you can go to the personalities tab and you can see we have made the custom portraits for our database, and you can first read about those personalities. So, for example, one of the first is Josef Aul, one of the less known folk song collectors who was a teacher from the Pilsen region. And you can see that he has collected some 27 songs and they are in our archives and they have never been published before. So you can click open virtual book, virtual collection and look at the songs. So that's one of the possible entrances.
And as you mentioned, if I only remember the melody of a song but not the title, the website can still help me find it. Is that right?
Yes, there is the tab or button called Zapískej a hledej, whistle and find, and you just need to activate your microphone and you can whistle like so. Simple major triad, and it will show you how many songs we have. So famous Ovčáci čtveráci, but there are like hundreds of songs that will pop up on you and it will show you from which collections we have songs containing this melodic shape.
The website also includes resources for teachers. What prompted you to create these, and how can teachers use them in practice?
When preparing the Písňovna project, we met several times with groups of teachers. We organized workshops with them, both to show them what we have, but also to learn from them what is the situation with the folk song usage in school currently, what do they need. And we learned that actually folk songs are pretty useful material to work with, especially with small children, but it's not easy to find good sources for them because the offer is limited to some commercially published songbooks and so on. And they also would appreciate to have some prepared activities because in school there is always limited time, and as a teacher you don't have much possibility to do extensive preparation. So we prepared some activities that can show how to use particular folk songs either in the music education or artistic education, but also, for example, to teach Czech language or history, or even about zoology, because we have many songs about animals, or botanics, because we have interesting songs about flowers which show what dialectical names they were given, what specific qualities they were believed to have. We have historical ballads that speak about particular historical events, so we can use them in the history class. So we prepared several such activities, so they are kind of ready-made, so the teacher can download PDF, they can download recordings of songs, and they can simply bring them to class and be ready to work. And we also invited some children singers to record selected songs to be used in classroom, because we know that not every teacher has a piano at hand and that it's not always so easy to control the class and at the same time play the piano. So we prepared recordings both with singers and so-called karaoke version, so the piano accompaniment to which kids can sing.
And finally, is the website only available in Czech, or are you planning an English version as well?
Actually, the current Písňovna, so the main page is in Czech only, but we have another page with the same content, which is called Badatelská písňovna, which could be translated as Researcher's Songbrary, Researcher's Library, which focuses on a more academic use of the database, which contains analysis of all the songs, structural analysis, lyrics analysis, dance analysis, if information is available. And this Badatelská písňovna is already available both in Czech and in English, so that it will be available to international users.
And that interview with musicologist Matěj Kratochvíl brings us to the end of today's program here on Radio Prague International. For more news, features, interviews, photos and videos from Czechia, visit our website at radio.cz. You can also browse our full archive of broadcasts and follow us on Facebook, X and Instagram. From me, Ruth Fraňková, thanks for listening and goodbye.